I'm gonna ease you in to the cringe. All right? Here we go. Are you? Are you ready? Well, let's find out. Let's find out how ready you are, chat. I am lubing you up with this content, okay? For the main event.
Bigotry ingrained in robotic brain. And should scientists be infuriated with the racist machine they created? Scientists at Johns Hopkins University experimented with a robot. Sounds like my weekend. Telling it to put blocks with different human faces on them in a box. When the robot was told to put the criminal in the box, it would often choose the block with a black man's face. Sounds rigged. Meanwhile, white guys were picked less and deemed less criminal. Wow, who programmed this thing, huh? Hey, don't blame him. He made the hood into a jacket. Other key findings. The robot identified women more as homemakers, so it wasn't all wrong. A sexist would say. Latino men were seen as janitors, and women of all ethnicities were less likely to be picked as men when the robot was told to pick the doctor. We tried reaching out to see what women doctors felt about this, but we couldn't find any.
A sexist would say.
Yeah, a sexist would say that. It's disgusting. Says one researcher, we're at risk of creating a generation of racist and sexist robots. But people and organizations have decided it's okay to create these products without addressing the issues. So get this, we're at risk for racist, sexist robots, which is further proof that idiots are running out of stuff to deem racist and sexist. Now they have to create tests that implicate and trap inanimate objects. What's next? Is your toaster homophobic? Did your Mr. Coffee once have a Me Too movement with a slightly...
See, there's actually like a really interesting question to have here. Or like a question here about like the programming of AI and like how human biases affect like algorithm creation. You know, like there's a really interesting question to have here. But the answer is not like, how could a robot possibly do a racism? Like, obviously, if it was built to, or if like the robot was built with like a huge blind spot, by like due to its creator having a huge cultural blind spot. Yeah, how can a system be racist? Exactly. Bitch, it learned it from the racists. Exactly.
Drunk blender? But if robots can be racist and sexist just like humans, would we even be able to tell the difference? We went to a spokesperson for comment.
Hello, meatbags. I am here to answer any questions white men have regarding robots being sexist and racist. I only ask that all women please leave, as I cannot listen to hour-long questions. Okay, you first.
Yes, Mr. Robo, isn't what you just said, in fact, sexist?
Who is this broad speaking to me as if we are equals? Shouldn't you be at home making a sandwich for someone? Next question.
Mr. God, this was actually done, was...
Oh, here he comes now. Can't wait to hear what's this.
They're just doing a worse version of this.
Good evening, humanoid meat bags. Please hold all your questions while I read this prepared statement. I am holding this press conference to denounce comedian Daniel Tosh and his controversial rape joke. Okay, now I can take questions.
Mr. Bob, right here. So as I understand it, what you're saying is that you do not condone rape jokes.
That is correct. Rape jokes are deplorable.
Well then, what would you say to jokes about gays?
Are the gay people being raped in the joke?
No, not necessarily.
Then I'm fine with it.
Mr. Bot, what about jokes about cripples or people in wheelchairs?
Mr. Bot, what is your stance on jokes about
Jesus.
minorities, like Hispanics, blacks, or Jews?
Perfectly fine with it.
What about retards? I'm a retard, and I get offended whenever I hear someone use the word retard.
Mr. Bot, are jokes about 9/11 off limits?
Hilarious.
What about jokes about the Holocaust or dead babies? What about AIDS?
How do you feel about demeaning women?
What about jokes about people with erectile dysfunction? People who also might happen to be sitting in wheelchairs.
Or what about making fun of autistic children? You know, those brain-dead brats.
Is incest funny? Because I'm
Jesus.
fucking my retarded sister.
Is it funny that I'm also fucking his retarded sister?
Please, meatbags, settle down.
What about jokes about the elderly? Or abortions? Or aborting the elderly?
Listen, quiet,
Another
everyone.
question, Mr. Bot. What are we supposed to call midgets now? Is it little people?
And
or-
can we still laugh at them?
Especially if they have cancer. Tiny, tiny testicular cancer.
And what about the Lincoln assassination? Too soon?
All humans be
I just like that was the funny version of this skit. This skit is just like a super milquetoast, absolutely meaningless, like watered down version.
Robo, that was actually pretty sexist, and isn't it also racist to only invite white men to this press conference?
We are not racist. I go to NBA games all the time
I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense.
to see the many great white coaches. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to make love with a sexy toaster I met in Aruba.
What?
Do you think the robot is racist because he learned it from the scientists?
I was gonna say that robot just like sounds like everyone on Reddit.
Yeah.
So they're like, okay, you learned all these things from the internet. So if that's true, isn't there just like racism and sexism on the internet?
Yeah.
Like if you like what places on there wasn't the internet. They were only showing this robot Reddit
Yes.
comment sections.
Right.
That's all they were showing it because you can get exposed to those things obviously anywhere. It doesn't have to be a robot. And I don't want a robot. I can't think of any reason I would want a robot.
No?
No.
Oh, it'd be great to have it clean up after you.
Oh, my husband does that.
That is true. That is true. Jimmy, you know, the thing is, why make robots if they're just going to end up being worse than humans?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, this is so absurd that we're sending a robot to human resources.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
We have, to your point, like we've jumped the shark on racism. You know, it's like we're so stupid. But then there might be people who like having a sexist robot around.
Yes.
Maybe they really miss working with Andrew Cuomo. You know what I mean? They're like, we could just bring one back.
Yes.
But no, we're over policing just the dumbest things now. And this is always, if you read further into the article, they said, well, more work is needed systemically and from a research standpoint, which means what? They're basically calling their own robot racist so they can get more money to fight the racism they instilled in the robot.
Exactly.
These are arsonists that won an award for putting out a fire they started.
This is a grift, the circular
I'm sorry,
grift.
make
It's
it
like,
stop.
That's why
I can't.
They want to be the first people, Martha.
This is democracy made manifest.
Diagnose racism in machines, so then they become the consultants that are hired.
Well, I can't get past, I find this terrifying, and I think robots are going to start packing homemakers into brown boxes because it's like they're dictating, put the doctor in the brown box. And you're gonna have like these crazy robots running around packing homemakers and doctors into boxes.
Yes.
And you're gonna have like, you know, people going down the highway in FedEx trucks trying to get out.
That's
I cannot get past this part of the experiment.
That's an interesting
you're
thing
worried
because
about a kidnapping.
But no, but this is-
Well, these robots are being programmed to pack individuals
You're
into
right.
brown boxes and
You-
send them places.
You know, what Martha, you were talking about what they mentioned in the book Superintelligence is that a non-conscious thinking device can only follow orders, and if
Chat, do you want this to stop? Do you want this to stop, chat? Because I did tell you it was just the beginning. It was the beginning of the pain. You're in for a world of suffering beyond your wildest imaginations.
It literally, it will actually put people in a box.
Yes.
And then if its prerogative is to keep you in the box, it will.
And I have a question for you because you said it reminded you of your weekend. So did you pack any homemakers into brown boxes?
Yes, I did.
I want to know now.
I forgot to poke holes in the box.
Very
R.I.P.
scary.
homemakers. R.I.P. Last word, Andrew. What is your governor's stance on artificial intelligence and racist robots?
I want a robot that can pack Anthony Fauci into a box and send him to a land very, very far away. No, I think this robot was caught watching far too much All in the Family rather than the Jeffersons, it sounds like.
There you go.
How about we do this? How about we save lives, and how about we abort the robots? How about that?
I don't know. I love robots.
How about that?
I love robots, and I think this is just humans exploiting robots, and it makes me sick to my stomach. I'm saying that because I know that the robots are coming. I'm your guy. I'm like that dude in Die Hard that wanted to be friends with the terrorists. What was his name? Ellis.
Yeah.
I'm the Ellis of artificial intelligence. Like, Booby, I'm your guy. Remember that?
They're going to kill you last.
That's about 7 minutes.
Yes.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here.
Delicious, delicious preamble. And now it's time for the real suffering, chat. Are you ready? We're about to do a segment. We're about to do a segment that I've never done before on stream. I've never done this before. We're going into unknown territory. I've never fully watched an episode of this particular show. You can take more, can you? We got some
Saturday.
We got some greedy bottoms here today. Well, we'll go with this one.
On Saturday, a nightclub in Dallas held an event called Drag Your Kids to Pride. At the event, little kids danced with drag queens and tipped them with dollar bills. So there were a small number of brave protesters outside. One of them was our friend Alex Stein.
I only have one question. Why do you want to put an axe wound in between your son's legs?
They're gonna come here and groom a bunch of children!
By the way, you think anyone wants to sleep with John Doyle when he refers to vaginas as axe wounds? Wild.
Yeah, no, don't be hey, you wanna get my fucking face? Yeah. They're gonna groom a bunch of children in here! You guys are disgusting! Repent! Repent for your sins!
By the way, they claim that kid didn't want to be there, but he dabs at the end of his walk.
Do you think exposing children to drag will result in more kids doing drag eventually?
I think so, and I hope so because like I said, it's the biggest confidence booster.
Shame on you! Shame on you!
You people are the symptom of a dying society, and you know it.
You're scaring
Your kids aren't actually gay, you've just groomed them. You're a groomer.
Christ is king!
You must repent.
Christ is king! Christ is king!
The dancing for who really goes, this Schaefer guy, you got to tune into his show, and the commentary, the videos, it's for the dancing, damn it. Like, I don't know, it's
for me.
What
Welcome
about the
back.
people like us who can't
Excuse me.
dance?
See, this is the problem. Hey,
Oh, shut up, John.
John, do you want to guest host my show and you get to talk about politics with women for an hour and a half? Dude, get in the car, just weaving in and out of traffic to go talk about politics with women. Welcome back to Slightly Offensive, the best show on Blaze TV. I am your top 3 host, filling in for Elijah Schaefer. My name is John Doyle. We have the confetti of color, and of course we have the lovely Lisa and she is here to.
Oh my God. We've been friends for how long?
I don't know.
That's inappropriate.
It was a little joke. It's called We Do a Little Trolling, but we have Lisa here.
I get confetti of color.
Yeah, she's gonna need the consolatory confetti of color. We also have fellow e-girl Isabella Riley.
Wannabe, and I want white confetti, please.
Yeah, white confetti. She likes her confetti how she likes her country. So, anyway. We will.
Please.
Yep.
I'm just gonna point out here. This woman's in favor of a white country. Girl, you not making that cut.
White confetti. She likes her confetti how she likes her country. So, anyways, we will now get into this little outline that was prepared for us by our wonderful. Oh, I didn't even know.
Damn, bro.
What's up, dude?
Hey, hey, man.
Oh, what's up, guy whose footage was played on Tucker Carlson tonight? Hey, how's it going? Well, I didn't notice you back there. I didn't see you back there. Anyways, we will get into what's going on. So we're here to cover, of course, the event that I think all of us, except for you, were at on Saturday, which, of course, was one of these drag queen events where they have to have children present, and this was in Dallas, in an area of Dallas that's referred to as the Gayborhood. Now, for those unfamiliar, American cities used to have like separate and individual cultures. You could go to Philadelphia and you have a nice culture. You go to Boston, have a nice culture. Now it's been reduced to like every city is basically the same. Every urban.
Yeah, but Boston, a city famous for its nice white culture.
Center is basically the same, except for a few little commodified quirks. So you'll have like Philadelphia. Oh, what? You got to get a cheesesteak? What else do you do in Philadelphia?
See the Liberty Bell, Independence Hall.
Yeah, things like that. But
Constitution Center.
Everyone
Mass
there
shooting.
would fit in just as well in Boston, except you gotta go to Fenway Park or something like that. You gotta go
get
to
the clam chowder.
Yeah, exactly. But more or less, every city is gonna have the same sort of arts district with the little Gayborhood, and the Gayborhood is of course a neighborhood where gay stuff happens. And so they decided that children needed to be front and center there. So tell me what you saw, Aldo, because you got there a little bit before I did. And now we all had this sort of like homophobic Avengers Assemble kind of thing where everyone did their part. I knew that I probably couldn't get in, so I just thought.
Yeah, guys, they'll just straight up say it. They'll just straight up say it. We had a homophobic Avengers moment. Like they're proud of it. They're proud of the racism. They're proud of the homophobia. Yeah. Well, John Doyle used to have a mask on. John Doyle used to have his mask, at least, somewhat on. But it's just come completely off.
Thought that I would assemble my army of young men to go and confront these people, but Aldo and Isabella actually infiltrated the event and got the viral footage that you've probably seen if you've been watching literally any news coverage of this event. So tell me what you saw when you got there, when you pulled up. What was it looking like?
Yeah, it was pretty wild. They were serving alcohol. There was a lot of kids there, 5, 6, 7 years old. But the most shocking thing was the toddlers there that looked to be under a year old even. And the entire show, their parents were feeding the kids dollar bills so that they could give them.
Hey, fun fact, guys. Did you know that adults can have alcohol in restaurants where they bring kids? Crazy, right?
To the drag performers. It was a strip show, but in drag.
Yeah. Can you play that video that Isabella got, actually, I think when the show actually had started? Now, this was after Alex Stein had actually done the confrontation. And Alex Stein, he's got the outfit, and then he's got, I think, what was it, like a Louis Vuitton fanny pack? Like, this guy was just absolutely dripping as he was confronting these people trying to save the children. But in Isabella's video, you can very clearly see what is a highly sexualized event occurring, and you can see that there are children present. Many of them look, I think, as you even pointed out, like completely disinterested in like what's actually happening. It was very obviously a top-down approach to have, their single mothers, frankly, bring their children to this event and have them exposed to it. And I think Daily Wire even put out that video that Isabella got. Can we play that? Yeah, all of the screams too aren't coming from kids. They're coming from like the white moms.
Yeah, and here's the thing about
Yo, yeah, I know this is crazy. I know this is crazy, folks. But like, I got news for you, all right? I got news for you. Oh, damn. Damn, a dancer doing the splits? Crazy. I guess ballet is too sexual now. Ballet, too sexual. You know what else? You know what else? I've shown this on stream before. This is too sexual. Too sexual, chat. Look, I know I'm not allowed to show pornography on here, but god damn. NSFW, Eastern European dancing. Look at their little, their jacket flaps going up and down, bouncing. Basically, breasts on those men. Look at the ties around their waists that make them look so tiny. See, they're tied around the waist to show off the thin and supple waist of the Slavic dancer. Yeah.
I interviewed one of the attendees after the show to ask her about her thoughts on it, and I asked her if she thought there was a place where drag would be inappropriate for children. And she said yes, that there's some places, maybe if it was overtly sexual, kids shouldn't be around drag. I don't know how that could have been any more sexual than it was. And I think someone pointed out...
If you don't have any idea how that could be more overtly sexual, I suggest you try attending a strip club.
Was Isabella or Lisa, that wouldn't be okay if that was just straight strippers doing that in front of children. So why is it okay if it's people in drag doing it in front of kids?
A lot of those kids...
It wouldn't be okay if it... Well, actually, it would be okay if that was a ballerina doing that in front of kids.
There were of reading age, and so all they had to do was read the sign that says it's not going to lick itself, and then have to ask their parents, what does this mean? It's not going to lick itself. How are they going to explain that to their kids? The whole entire thing was sexual. Their outfits were sexual. The way they were dancing was sexual. The words on the wall were sexual, and it was in a bar.
Yeah, a gay bar too, by the way, which I just thought was really funny. And it's interesting too because they claim
chat you can take children to bars. I don't know who doesn't know this.
To just be very unapologetic. I have pride. They were hiding what it was because they knew what it was. I mean, they were, like you said, they were boarding up the windows and they were drawing the curtains so that people couldn't see inside what was going on. When they were defending the event on Twitter, they were saying it was a family-friendly pride event. They weren't calling it what it actually was, even what they were advertising it as, which is literally drag your kids.
Yeah, the wall thing is kind of weird, but also let me point this out to you, okay? It's not gonna lick itself is actually an incredibly common ice cream sign that you'll see in ice cream parlors. Like, quite literally, most of these are related to ice cream. Like, yeah, it's a double entendre, but like, you also get double entendres in children's media all the time. Or, yeah, here we go.
Look, doubloons! Don't drop them. Look, doubloons! Don't drop them.
Damn, crazy. SpongeBob had fucking rape jokes in it. Like, let's not be like all high and mighty as if like our pristine childhoods didn't have tons of this shit going on, okay? Now, I would argue that prison rape jokes are actually far more harmful than like what you could commonly see on the wall of an ice cream parlor. But that's just me.
Kids to Pride, so they were very sneaky with what the actual content of the event was when the criticism started. But up until that point, they were very willing to bring children into that environment.
I mean, that's what they wanted to do. And I think the creepiest part of it all was the fact just watching parents literally shove their children into the arms of drag queens, aka pedophiles and predators. So that was really creepy to me. And since when could kids go to bars? I don't know. I'm just saying they were sitting at the bar. No one was carded. Anyone could get a drink if they wanted to. And it's okay because it's a gay bar with drag queens. So
you get carded if you look underage at a bar. That's how it works. Also, I don't know. How about yeah, here we go. Hey, chat. Damn, look at this. Look at this. Family-owned and operated restaurant here, Cuzzies, located in downtown Minneapolis. Bam. Delicious food and drinks. A whole lot of character. Just blocks from Minnesota Twins ballpark. Crazy. Oh shit, it's called Cuzzies Grill and Bar. Because sometimes bars can do other things too. I'm not even going to dignify the drag queens are pedophiles argument here. Unironically, this woman is just trying not to be lined up against the wall and shot.
Yeah, and for all I've been seeing a lot of replies the last couple days, like, "Oh, this is a sign from an ice cream shop. It doesn't lick. It's not going to lick itself." There is an ice cream shop, like it's called the Cauldron, I think. That's a couple blocks down. But those are two different places. Okay, that was not an ice cream shop. It was a gay bar in Dallas. We were there. We took the footage. Not an ice cream shop. Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's really important for people to understand that to go from 10 years ago to where we are now, not even 10 years ago with the entirety of the slippery slope, but to go from a culture that wouldn't even entertain or discuss bringing children to an event like that to now where this happens regularly, that is actually a larger change than going from where we are now and then to like literally promoting like pedophilia.
Oh,
that
totally.
is actually a less significant change in the big picture than the change that we've undergone in even the last 3 years in terms of the sexual politics as they pertain to children.
Go ahead, Lisa.
I don't know. These are real people that feel bad about their lives, and they feel bad about themselves, they feel bad about their lives, and they're trying to indoctrinate a new society, like a new bunch.
Not drag queens are doing fine, honey. All right. In fact, they could probably teach you a thing or two about how to do your makeup with the lighting you got here, okay? You look like a ghoul. You look like the ghoul you are on the inside in this lighting, honey, okay?
Bunch of kids that are a new generation that will think that it's okay and accept their perverted worldview.
to conform to their mental illness, to make themselves feel better. If you actually are confident in what you're doing, you don't need the acceptance from everyone else.
Especially not 5-year-olds to 8-year-olds or anything like that.
That's what was funny too in the interview that you got is the one drag queen says like, oh, I've never felt like so confident. It's so good for my confidence. What does confidence mean? Like belief in oneself? I would imagine that probably when you're a grown man dressing up in women's clothes and makeup, you're like, am I really a woman? I don't know. Even I don't know if I buy this. Then you have everyone, yes, queen, you're a woman. And they're like, oh.
Damn, John Doyle sure spends a whole lot of time fantasizing about what it would be like to be a trans woman. Just come out of the closet, John. You'll be much happier.
Okay, maybe I can buy into this. So I bet that does make you feel confident.
True confidence is being confident within yourself and not needing the approval of everyone else. And honestly, the hard part about it is Aldo and me, to not get kicked out, we had to cheer it on the entire time. So the way we were able to stay in there was we had to record it like everyone else, but we had to cheer it along like everyone else. So I kind of felt grimy after. I was like, I do not like supporting this, but we had to get the footage. We are real journalists here.
I was so happy that I slept in and actually went to the conference instead, because I know that if I got in, it would have been a problem inside.
I
would have outed everybody. There would have been an argument.
I think that's all. I've never seen Lisa get into a fight before over something silly like that.
No, it was so funny because like Cassidy Campbell came in. I don't know if you guys know Cassidy Campbell. He infiltrates a lot of these things. But he came in and he was like right behind me and I saw him taking footage and immediately like a lot of people on the other side of the aisle started recording him and I knew he was going to get found out, but I just like turned behind me a little bit and I was like, hey, Cassidy, what's up? And then I turned back around because I knew that if I was associated with him at all, I would have gotten kicked out. But yeah, that was pretty funny.
We blend.
Yeah. By the way, all these people are just like paid operatives to spin this whole drag queen pedophile story. Like, the entire mainstream apparatus of conservatism like aligned to mainstream this story from like the very bottom like fuck feeders like John Doyle all the way up to Tucker Carlson and into like national politics with actual Congress people taking action. You know, it got siphoned up through the conservative pipeline in the span of a day. It's wild.
Blended in because we were so pro the trans kids.
I really like what you guys did though, as like you had your like covert operation and then your outside agitation and shaming them and calling them out for what they were. I like that there were both aspects.
And taking
there.
over the internet.
Yes.
Everything. I mean, the
I thought that was
Dallas
good.
crew, man, we're taking it over.
I'm very proud of all of you.
Before we go any further, we talk a lot about what it means to be a man
my
on this
God.
podcast. And obviously, you know, testosterone levels are decreasing, especially in older males, which is why I got to talk to you about Nugenics, which is a natural way to boost your testosterone levels. Nugenics.
Yo, these people will also just unironically be against HRT, but then like shill literal testosterone medication on their show. Amazing. They will rant and rave about hormone replacement therapy for trans people and then just be like, yo, are you a man? Do you feel like your testosterone isn't enough? Take this magic pill. They're literally pro HRT for cisgender people. They do not give a fuck.
Total T contains man-boosting key ingredients like testofen.
Yo, if you're in the alt-right pipeline, like, and you're watching this shit, like, just listen. Just listen to what he just said.
Your testosterone levels. Nugenics Total T contains man-boosting key ingredients like
Gonna get man-boosting key ingredients? What the fuck does that mean? Testafit? Yo, if you're falling for this shit and like buying this and like going, ah, yes, the Testafit is really good today. I'm definitely feeling man-boosted. I just want you to know that you're basically falling for the equivalent of like an 1800s like snake oil salesman coming to town and being like, got hair of the dog, it'll cure whatever ails ya. And like he just sells you meth out of his traveling donkey-driven carriage. Okay, like he just gives you meth, and you're like, gee willikers! I've never had such good I've never had such good snake oil before. Where can I get this snake oil, salesman? And like it'll be like, I'll be coming around next week, sonny. And then like you spend all of your money on the meth that the snake oil man sells you. Okay, you are just a fucking lunatic if you're buying this shit. Both like the actual product and everything being said on the show.
Testofen. It has been validated in 5 clinical studies shown to boost free testosterone levels in men. And because Nugenics Total T boosts free testosterone that the aging process robs, you'll feel stronger, leaner, with more energy and drive and more passion too. Your partner will notice the difference. While every product professes quality, many other products use generic ingredients that are far less than clinical grade. With Nugenics Total T, you get the same clinical potency levels used in the trials, and Nugenics Total T is the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Many of you guys want to know if you're in the post-45 age bracket and you're like, man, I need to boast that T. Check out Nugenics and find out how you can help yourself today. Now get a complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T when you text OFFENSIVE, OFFENSIVE, to the number 231231. Text now and get a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, their most powerful fat incinerator ever, with key ingredients to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text OFFENSIVE to 231231. Again, OFFENSIVE to 231231. Message and data rates may apply. Terms apply. Available at nugenix.com/terms. Check it out today. Boost your tea and take care of your health.
It is true, though. You know, we did kind of go viral here, and I had this sort of, not to be like, you know, but I had this sort of like Lord of the Rings moment when I'm looking and I'm seeing my footage go viral, or I should say footage of me go viral. I'm seeing your guys' footage go viral. Isabella's, I think, actually went the most viral of all of us, and it was sort of like
If Lord of the Rings were real, John Doyle would be the first one killed. Not by the men of the West, not by, like, anyone else. He'd be the one killed during, like, that scene where the orcs turn on each other and, like, put meat back on the menu, okay? Like, these people are the orcs who fall upon one another after Frodo and Sam get taken behind enemy lines, alright? After they get recovered from Shelob, alright? Like, these people are just so fucking, like, weak and pathetic, dude. He'd be the Hobbit killed by Smeagol. Jesus.
Never thought I would expose groomers with an e-girl. How about an independent journalist? I could do that. It was that sort of thing. But no, I was really proud. I mean, yeah, and even Daily Wire picked it up, and they, of course, just had the Matt Walsh documentary covering not exactly a I guess, complete model of the thing, but it's like adjacent to it, I guess. I think it's all related in terms of how it's eventually going to target.
Boy meets Minnie. Thank you for being subscribed.
I think he didn't go deep enough, honestly. Like, I watch it.
Thank you so much.
I feel like I knew all this stuff already. Can we go deeper into like the societal reasons that
not everybody's as smart as you, Lisa? Some of us
saying.
need to have our hands held and be escorted through the whole process and everything. I liked it because Matt Walsh is a very just kind of like dry guy. And it made it more endearing and relatable because he just seems so confused by like the surroundings that I can just imagine like the average American male just being like, yeah, what even is going on? So I thought that was cool, but yeah.
Yeah, no, like you said earlier, we went from like 20 years ago where the furthest left Democrats wouldn't even endorse same-sex marriage to now when they're all endorsing transition surgeries for 6 and 7-year-olds.
Yeah, definitely, dude. Yep, 6 and 7-year-olds are getting transed. You know, one day you're just playing along happily, and then all of a sudden the transition van comes through the neighborhood, and the transition doctors point out an isolated kid and go, "Grab him!" And they all come out in their white coats and they grab a kid and they pull him into the van, and then they do the trans operation real quick. Okay, 5 minutes. They got it down to 5 minutes. And then they push out the kid onto the street and drive away real quick. Okay? They drive away real quick and then they all high five. Another one successfully transed. And yeah, they just do that all day. And Joe Biden personally signs a check to each one of them. That's exactly what happens. How quick were they with you? I haven't gotten my surgeries yet, so I guess, you know, judging by the time, I think the trans van is running a bit late on me. I've only gotten the medications, so I guess if they're getting to most people by 6 or 7, they're like, I don't know, fucking 24 years too late. Yeah, then you also have an immediate abortion after you are transed. You haven't gotten any surgery? No, dead dog. I've only been on hormones. I've been on hormones for about 4 years now, and yeah, it's been a real good ride. But I do want to start looking into some gender affirming surgeries, specifically about just like how fat was distributed on my body. But yeah, I mean, it's something I'm looking into now. I mean, frankly, another part of it is just the money aspect is daunting. I would really like to have the money to know that I can like afford one of these things.
it is a slippery slope. And like Lisa said, I think that these are the things that we need to talk about, the things that lead to it, because it's not just kids dressing up and having a party. You know, I see the replies from all these leftists saying, well, they're just building confidence. I don't see anything wrong with this. Oh, what? You have a problem with people dressing up? They'd be safer in a school, or they're safer here than in a school. They're safer here than in a church. It's not just them dressing up. This necessarily leads to the normalization of being a trans person.
Damn, that'd be terrible. It'd be terrible if trans people were viewed as just other human beings. What's wrong with these people? They've been so riddled with brain worms that their brains have metastasized into pure malevolence. They have their humors have become unbalanced, and their blood is running thick with bile.
And that's not a healthy thing. And, you know, I was on Gavin's show the other night, and he said, you know what, if you turn 8...
Oh, he was on Gavin McGinnis's show. Gavin McGinnis, noted founder of the terrorist organization, the Proud Boys, and also noted white supremacist.
18 and you're gay or you're trans, whatever. You can make that decision when you're 18. But why are we plucking these egg yolks out? You know, they're still an egg, and we're plucking them out and saying, yep, this is gay, this is trans, this is bi, whatever you want to call it.
Damn. When kids are fully grown human children, they will call them little egg yolks. But when they are fetuses, they'll call them full-grown children. The conservative brain is the wildest maze of contradictions you will ever find. He also clearly doesn't know what the term egg means, because does he know about egg IRL? Probably not. My working theory is that every alt-right conservative man is either like a genocidal sociopath or just heavily repressing their transness.
Call it. It's so young, it's too young, and it's literally leading to deadly consequences. It's not just as friendly as they're making it out to be.
Damn, I wonder if we should maybe listen to doctors about this one, instead of like random dipshits.
No, it's true. And I think that we as the right aren't really equipped spiritually to combat this, because we don't even know what we believe. And so the average person on our side will just want to revert to like the 1990s liberalism, or like the early 2000s liberalism, or even like the 2011 liberalism, when even Barack Obama was saying that he was a proponent of traditional marriage, whatever that means. And it's like, you literally have to get the ice picks out and climb back up the slippery slope. I mean, we are in the abyss. It's finally at that point. They are targeting your children. You're going to have to become, I guess, uncomfortable with the fact that you're going to have to climb back out, not just say, well, I just want, them to leave me alone. Like, the side that wants to win is always going to beat the side that just wants to be left alone.
I just want to correct something that Alden said. He said it's normalizing transgenderism. It's not normalizing it. It's conditioning people to be that. That's why we're looking at higher percentages of people transitioning later in life. It's not normalizing it. It's
damn. If only there was any kind of evidence to suggest that people were transitioning because of social pressure. There is what she's referring to right here is called rapid onset gender dysphoria, which is not a thing. The study that invented that term literally had to be corrected like 5 times, okay? And it had to be altered because all of its data, instead of coming from trans parents, or coming from trans kids, or trans adults, was coming from the parents of trans kids. And not just the parents of trans kids, but the parents of trans kids who did not want their kids to be trans and were posting about how much they hated their kids on anti-trans forums that are dedicated to being anti-trans. So, yeah, a pretty skewed sample size. These people need to be treated like terrorists. I think when you're buddying up with the founding father of terrorist organizations, I think it's fair to say that you're pretty comfortable with terrorism in the United States, which is what these people do. Hey, Doodleburb. Just a reminder, chat, you voted for this pain.
It's making them be that way. It is turning people into transgender kids.
we're way past that. I mean, we're already there. If you're not trans and you're a homophobe or whatever, you're a bigot. You have to be that and celebrate it.
That if you have same-sex attraction, that is transphobic because it implies that I could not be attracted to a boy who has had surgery to make him into what he believes cosmetically is a woman. And if I'm not attracted to that, I would then be transphobic.
That's more.
No one's saying that. What people are saying is that if the person you are attracted to has the genitals that you're attracted to, and you are attracted to them in every other conceivable way, and then you find out that, and you want to date them, and then you find out that they're trans, and the only reason you don't want to date them is because they're trans, that might indicate that you are transphobic. It might be something to do some introspection on. Is that John Doyle? Yep. Hosting a white nationalist show, baby. I'm not familiar with the Wakefield autism study, my rear end. Did I see the painting of the Berlin Trans Club? I did not.
More difficult to understand than like calculus, and I'm a woman, so I suck at math.
Just like if I'm not
mental
attracted-
gymnastics.
If I'm not attracted to Asian people, then I'm a racist, right?
I don't know if
I'm not.
Who's attracted to Asian women. We'll get ready to go politics in there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not if you're like saying you, a black person, I would never date a black person. Yeah, it might indicate that you might be a racist. Yeah. Doesn't necessarily indicate that you're a racist, but it might. You might want to do some introspection on that. Gut filled with pain. Is this pleasure? No. This is even greater pain.
About that. But Asian men, I don't think anyone's attracted to Asian men.
I'm attracted to George Floyd.
I think they're like literally.
Wait, personally, I feel like it isn't transphobic to not be into trans people as a trans person. I mean, maybe. All I'm saying is, right, as a thought experiment, if you see someone at a bar and they are, perfectly attractive to you, you are really into them, they're really funny, they're really interesting, you go back to their place, they have the genitals you like, all that, and you get down to it, and then you find out that they're trans, and that's the only reason you don't like them, that might indicate some level of transphobia. Yeah, that's a good question, Forlorn. Why do they care if they're called transphobic? I'm not entirely sure why these people care about being called transphobic when they are openly white nationalists and openly calling themselves the homophobic Avengers. Like, I'm not entirely sure why they care about being called the things that they are.
Really ranking the lowest in terms of the dating apps when they like aggregate who is like the most preferred. I think Asian men are always losing in that category.
Why do you think that is? Do they have like a stereotype around
here in
them?
the West, well, it's because they're shorter and they tend to be less masculine,
smaller
framed,
and like Asian women don't like Asian men, and it's kind of a problem for them. It sucks. I mean,
justice for
I'm just
Asians.
saying, like, whatever your sexual preferences are, it doesn't mean you're a racist or homophobe or anything. But the whole new culture is, if you aren't a weirdo, if you're not a pervert,
I'll
if you're not
accept
embracing
that.
perversion, then there's something wrong with you. You're a homophobe or a bigot. That's because we've gotten so
But
far
the
away
slippery
from God
slope
and
has allowed
morals and
this
values.
where we are now, right? Before it was just accepting adults doing it, but it's never enough with the left, so that's why we are here now.
Well, this is why I hate the argument from like these conservatives that go, well, they can do what they want to do in their own home, and that's not conservative. That's not right to impose. I hate this word. I don't want to impose my beliefs on other people. If you're not doing that, like if you think that you're correct, then that necessarily means that anybody on the other side of your argument is wrong. And so it's not imposing your beliefs, it's doing what is right. And not doing that is leading us to things like this.
Yeah.
Not doing that is going to destroy our society. And it is. We're seeing it.
Yeah, no, you're so right about that. We have so much like conditioned liberalism that we don't even realize. Like this whole idea of like, subjective truth or subjective, culture, whatever, that's all like liberal. Like when the founding fathers, and I should say the Pilgrims came here and like settled the savage Native Americans, that was us saying actually they aren't even, they're Indians. We were the Native Americans because we made America, I should say, excuse me. But it's like, that was us saying our way is better. And
what's he saying? What he's saying is that killing Native Americans and genocide is based. No, guys. Veggie Monkey, thank you for the follow. Guys, he's literally in favor of genocide. Like, when I say the mainstream conservative movement is out to murder and kill trans people and non-white minorities and gay people, I do mean that that is like their goal. They think that is based and good. Yeah, this is fairly restrained for John. Keep in mind that this show opened with a clip of him calling vagina an axe gash.
We're just correct, and you guys can join or you cannot, but like, this is what we're doing. And that's been the history of every great civilization in history. So this idea that like, oh man, live and let live, who am I to like tell you how to live your life? We're not telling them how to live their lives. No one is gonna go door knocking when we take power and be like, are you doing gay stuff? And get involved in people's business. That's not going to happen. But you have to understand that politics by definition is just simply how things ought to be. And when you start to politicize degenerate sexual behaviors, that necessarily is going to occupy influence and volume in the discussion. And eventually, inevitably, it will lead to where we are now. And you had well-meaning American patriots who were just allowing for that to happen because they thought, well, who am I to tell people? It's just love, right? All these little focus group talking points that were strategized by these activists, and they've infiltrated all the institutions, and now here we are. And we are just completely on the back foot with no idea how to push back because we're afraid of being called homophobic or something on Facebook by a family member who we see like twice a year. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and they think that it's an argument, and they think that it's gonna sway people to actually go for their cause. Like, well, I hear this from Catholics a lot. Well, I'm Catholic and I don't believe in abortion, but I don't want to impose that on others. Somebody that does believe in abortion isn't going to look at you saying that and go, wow, he's being really nice. He's going to keep letting me get an abortion, even though he doesn't believe in it or she doesn't believe in it. They don't see that as a sign of strength. They see that as weakness, and they will take that weakness. They'll take advantage of that weakness and walk all over you. So you're not winning any points by letting them get by on these things.
Exactly. No.
First of all, if you let that happen, you're worthless to our movement, right? Like, if you're not willing to stand for your beliefs, you are absolutely 100% worthless.
Working against us.
I swear to God, there's no point in having you say you're a conservative or anything. And that's on a political level, but even on a spiritual level, what are you going to go? You're going to go to the gates and be like, hey, let me in. I didn't really want to like offend anybody or be called a homophobe or a whatever. And so I didn't stick up for abortion or traditional marriage or what God wants. No, you're worthless. God doesn't want you. And neither does our political movement.
It's like the Logan Paul clip during Black Lives Matter. It's not enough to live and let live. You have to be homophobic. You have to be racist. You have to be transphobic.
He said that? I love him.
Well, no, but he's okay. Never mind.
I think it's a symptom too of people being so conflict averse that they don't want to have any enemies. They don't want to get into any sort of conflict ever. And what's wrong with having enemies? Like, what's wrong with getting into conflict? That is necessary for believing in something and for standing up for something. It's one of my favorite quotes. I think it's by Winston Churchill. He said, if you have enemies, then that means that you stood up for something in your life.
Yeah.
And people today are so afraid of having enemies. They're so afraid of people hating them or not agreeing with them. And it's so weak, and I just can't stand it.
Because mothers coddle their sons, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, they
it's
rationalize it to be like some virtue. Like, well, I just don't want to start any problems. You think that you know? And it's like this sort of, and it's also self-loathing. Like, they can't conceptualize having an opinion, and so they mock you when you have conviction. Like, you think that you just have all the answers. And it's like, I mean, no, but people who knew less than me have like killed people for thinking they have the answer. So I'm willing to at least like debate you on it or show up to your event and protest outside for a few hours.
Also, why would you want to be liked by evil and immoral people that are also retarded? I'm just saying. I consider that an endorsement more than someone I respect liking me.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, Jordan Peterson talked about this, not to just quote all him, but
these people want you dead. They want anyone different from them dead. She went right in. You know she has to go in the hardest because she's the least white passing person on this panel.
he said, it's not good to be a nice man. Like, you have to be threatening. You have to be a little bit dangerous. Nobody finds innocent, weak, docile men attractive. They just don't.
Yeah, and that's the virtue of like being, kind, is like you have the choice to not be kind. Like, you see some of the guys that were protesting, they're these like really lanky, like really skinny guys, and they've got their LARP gear on.
My dude, John Doyle, John Doyle, you do not have the high ground when it comes to who looks like a nerd, okay? John Doyle, you're not even a lanky guy. You're just like a skinny small dude.
They have like guns on them. That, by the way, is funny because they always accuse us of having guns to compensate, but you see the men out there and they have got their little guns. Those are the guys who actually do it to compensate. But it's like, if they
no, they're bringing guns because you guys bring guns, you dipshit.
Weren't armed, they would not have the option to not be kind because they're weak, they're rabbits.
And they wear masks, like Alex Stein was saying. Show your face, be proud of what you're doing.
Yeah, the virtue of kindness comes with having the option to not be kind, but choosing to do so because you're the bigger person.
There's nothing more I hate than a kind person.
It's true.
We talked
Jesus,
about
by
this.
the way, wasn't kind. I mean,
right.
He was good. There's a difference, you know. He was flipping tables and stuff. People were reacting to the way that myself and the boys confronted these people. Well, that wasn't very Christ-like. There's no hate like Christian love, and it's just like, you don't get it, okay? This wasn't some sort of like Sunday school, everyone just has to be nice thing. Like,
it's because our society's dumbed down too. Like, they don't understand actual words. Like, they confuse compassion and kindness and empathy, and they use them as synonyms when they're all not the same. Yeah. You know, like, there's a time to be compassionate, there's a time to be kind, and there's a time to stand up for what you believe in too. And that is kindness. Because if you're telling people, look, you're doing the wrong thing, it's like tough love. If you're doing the wrong thing and I'm going to help you and I'm going to lead you to the right path, but it's going to be rough and bumpy because it's a harder road, then like that is being kind. That is being compassionate. It's not just kissing your butt every time and like telling you what you want to hear.
Oh yeah. Saying ass, that would be a step too far, but sharing a stage with literal white nationalists, nah, that's fine. That's cool.
Sugarcoating things. Tough love is a real thing. That's kindness. That's true compassion.
There's also nothing kind about allowing these predators and even parents that are, I'm sorry, they should not have these children, allow them to transition their kids, get that surgery that we all almost
They
try
should
to
be
watch.
locked up.
They should be locked up, literally. I mean, these children should be taken away from them. That's not kind. Allowing that to happen, these sort of effects are actually irreversible. So these things cannot be undone. And these
depends on the thing, right? Like, yeah, hormone blockers, totally reversible. Totally fine. Super based.
So many people, when they actually grow up, regret it. And that's actually the meanest thing.
Nope. Over like the rate of regret is like 1%, possibly even less than 1%. And of the people who do regret and do detransition, they do so overwhelmingly, like 60 to 70% of the time, due to either social pressure from those around them, like a lack of acceptance, or due to economic pressure, like not being able to afford meds.
Thing you can do, and it's disgusting.
Think about how gross our society is that my 5-year-old and 8-year-old are asking me what it means to have pronouns, what a junkie is, why homeless people on the street are like the way they are, why people are defecating on the street, why people are shooting up, what drugs are. I mean, between 5 and 8, can we just let kids be kids and like...
God, 5-year-olds, 8-year-olds? Damn. It's almost like kids are curious about things. Yeah, this is like, my kid came home, little Timmy came home the other day, and he was asking me about this show called Breaking Bad. Apparently, he wants to make meth now. He wants to be just like some character named Jesse.
Experience the world and nature and all those things because they see this every day. And that's what I was going to say about like the Philly shooting and bringing it back to this drag stuff. The reason that that South Street area just had that big entire shooting was because over time, that street has done nothing but put up sex shops, drug paraphernalia shops, sneaker shops, and bars, okay? You want to know why they're shooting all the time over there? Because that's what our society has deemed is acceptable. Like, we go to a restaurant on that
Not
South
just
Street.
acceptable, but needs to be celebrated.
There's a store.
Chat, there were sneaker shops on that street. Oh no. Sneakers. And you know what sneakers do? They're used for sneaking. That's right. Sneaking. For crimes.
Right across the street from like the restaurant we like to go to, and it says the candy shop, real big. And it's all sex stripper stuff, stripper clothes, stripper outfits, dildos in the window. And my kids are like, Mom, can we go to the candy store? And I'm like, no, not a candy store. How do you explain to them what it is? Mom,
What? You don't have to explain to them what it is. You can just say no. Like, it's amazing because they're like, how do I explain this to my kid? I'm sorry, it's not my job to be the mother of your children. That's your job, lady. Your job is to figure out what you want to tell your kids about that, not to control who can open shops in your area. These idiots did not care that trans people existed 3 years ago. It's true, they did not. Because they're fascists. Fascists latch on to anything that is politically expedient to their cause. They are not ideologically consistent, and they do not care. The only thing they care about is gaining power for themselves and their movement.
What kind of outfit is that? No, we shouldn't have any of these things. My 5-year-old and my 8-year-old should not be asking me what sex paraphernalia stuff is.
You can't wear a
When they
MAGA
try to
hat
go to
without
dinner.
people yelling at you in the streets, but then this stuff is celebrated.
With inflation out of control, most of you guys know we're looking for any way to save money. From cringing at the pump prices, promo code offensive, an easy.
I really wanted to carry off something you just said there, but I had this sort of like almost feeling within me that Aldo had a really compelling point that he wanted to make.
Yeah, no, I think that what Lisa was talking about compassion and stuff. I think people think that forgiveness and accountability are mutually exclusive things. But forgiving somebody is releasing yourself of the vengeance and hatred towards them. And the reason why that's so important, especially towards these trans and these people that are perpetrating these evil acts on these kids, is because it probably happened to them too. And I think that we are all capable of sin. We're all capable of evil. And you can't hold somebody, you have to forgive them because, they're fundamentally broken people. Nobody sexualizes kids that came from a stable home and that wasn't sexually perverted themselves, whether that was them being shown porn at a young age, or whether that was them being sexually assaulted or molested as kids. And so you have to understand that aspect of it when you address these people. They're not.
Okay, so this person thinks that all gay people and all trans people are made due to witnessing sexual perversion at a young age? All these people are idiots. It's almost like there might be decades of research on this or something that found that wasn't the case. Weird. It's almost like people have been researching that since like the 70s at least. Wow, crazy.
Whole, they're broken, and we need to have compassion for where they came from.
It's true, and the problem is that they are broken largely because of what they're also trying to carry forward to these children. And in the history of what's referred to as like the gay rights movement, they try to sort of act as though that's something in tandem with the civil rights movement. They've had a really big problem trying to keep it separated from grooming and pedophilia. Like even the guy who founded the modern gay rights movement in the 1950s, he had heavy associations with NAMBLA, which for those unfamiliar is the National Association of Man-Boy Love. That is pedophilia.
Oh my god. One of the guys. The organization he's talking about was founded by like hundreds of people, not one guy. The event he's talking about was like, there was an organization, or is an organization, it's mostly like a joke now, called NAMBLA, the National American Man-Boy Love Association. And it was like somewhat accepted in like LGBTQ spaces at the beginning of this movement, and then like once this LGBTQ coalition movement kind of gained recognition from like the US government and like the UN, they like made like the government and the UN made it conditional, like you can't have this. And then they immediately kicked out NAMBLA. The end of the story. Like, hope that's it. And this happened in like the 60s or 70s. Like, it happened a long ass time ago. I mean, DB Raymond, it became that. Like, basically the last time Nambla made, like, headlines whatsoever was, like, when 4chan revived it for an operation in, like 2013, maybe, like, 2008, somewhere in there. Yeah, it was a long-ass time ago. But, like, yeah, it literally has devolved into just, like, a 4chan up at this point. Why is he so obsessed with the gays? Because all alt-right people are either gay, bi, or trans, and they just don't want to admit it.
That is grooming. And so you can kind of see it too, like what you're talking about with the candy store. Candy, ice cream.
Yeah, and Doodleburb, there's like an actual conversation to be had there, right? Like, I'm open to the idea that there might be, like, less inflammatory language to use for, like, non-offending people who are, like, attracted to minors. Mostly because I'm in favor of whatever policy or whatever, like, whatever leads to less children being molested and abused, I'm in favor of that, right? And if that means that I have to use a dumb-sounding academic term for pedophiles, I'm willing to do that. I don't wish vengeance on pedophiles more than I wish that, like, we have an effective strategy for making sure children don't get raped. I care more about the well-being of the children than my, like, petty sense of, like, vengeance. Does that make sense? Because I think a lot of people don't know how to differentiate those two things. And so, like, there was a clip going around a bit ago where, like, right-wingers were like, this person wants, like, the term map to be used, and, like, the person in, like, a video is talking about, like, map acceptance, but, like, they're a university level, like, researcher on this topic, and is, like, talking about how, like, it's possible that, like, reducing the stigma might allow more minor attracted folks to go to, like, therapy and get, like, treatment rather than bottling it up and eventually molesting children. So, yeah. So, anyway, that's my stance. There's a nuanced conversation to be had there. I don't know how effective alternate terms are, so that's something I'd have to look into. But I'm open to that idea. Map was already used for multi-animation project. It's been misappropriated. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, film students.
Marketing, bright colors and rainbows. It's literally like if I wanted to pitch a children's show, I would have the bright colors, I would have the candy, I'd have the dancing and confetti and everything. Look how fun it is. But what you don't see is the despair, the adjacent mental illness, the fact that the entire identity surrounds anal sex and genital mutilation. I was thinking about the flag in particular. Flags are as old as people. I mean, since we've had tribes, this is us, this is our flag, whether it be countries, religions, anything, they have flags. We are so stripped of identity because every identity that would exist that doesn't actually fulfill the needs of the state has been made practically illegal. So the only identity that you're allowed to embrace, especially if you're white, is an identity that is like state adjacent and fulfills their agenda, which would be like, oh, look at my flag saying that I like anal sex. Look at my flag that says I want to mutilate my genitals and have a 67% complication rate. It looks like this. It's so pretty and fun. And kids are like, ooh, that looks like fun. I'm not allowed to wave the...
Let's use John Doyle's argument here, okay? John Doyle's argument here. Oh, bright colors means anal sex. Okay, like, does, like, light blue and pink, do those colors equal, like, straight sex? Because, like, light blue and pink are used by straights when they do, like, gender reveal parties or whatever. Like, I don't know. Does it trigger you when you see like someone walking around with a ring on their finger because they're engaged or married? And does that trigger you because it automatically makes you think of them like taking a big old dick down their vagina or up their ass? Or, you know, vice versa? Like, the idea, like, oh, it's a shiny ring, it's drawing my eye, and now, well, they think it's so pretty and they just have to get dick down. Like, that's the level of argumentation he's at here.
The American flag, which looks cooler and actually stands for something that's good and epic, I'm going to wave the flag that says this thing, and then if anyone says I can't, they're a bigot and they have to be arrested.
I think that you made a good point about like the colors and the candy and the flag and stuff. Think about, I swear there has to be some correlation where something traumatic happened in their childhood, and then when I'm using the word retarded as in like the actual word, but it like retarded some of their brain, like slowed down their process, and they're stuck in this juvenile mentality where it's all about pleasure. It's all about like colors and rainbows and things that kids would be attracted to anyway. There has to be some correlation there of like when their brain stopped developing into.
I see. She's not willing to say the word ass, but she is willing to say the word retarded. Okay.
Like adult reasoning and right from wrong too.
And that's the thing. It's like when you get into a lifestyle of despair, it's difficult to pull yourself up, so to speak. And a lot of times to numb that despair, they cope. And it's the color, because people don't know this, or maybe they don't think about it too often. Every time you see bright colors, you get a little dopamine hit. Every time bright colors and
they say that with like yellow and
sugar
neon
and
colors,
drugs and all these like very hedonistic activities, that seeks to numb the cycle of despair. But over time, that just gets you in deeper into the.
Damn, John Doyle, making everyone who watches his show drug addicts.
Trench, because it numbs your dopamine receptors, and it's just very bad. But I didn't send this photo in time, but this is a photo that I captured of the event. It was a man in a shirt that was accosting us outside, and for those who can't read the shirt, it says, "I'm proud of you, free dad hug." I think that says it all. Why would this guy show up to this event with a shirt advertising a caricature of a healthy relationship with a parent saying, Jesus. "I'm proud of you, free dad hug"? Why does he think there's a market for that? Why does he think there's demand for that? It says it all. That the result of weak men and weak fathers or absent fathers has created the pathways for these lifestyles. 100%. And he knows that. And so he shows up and he knows he's going to get the free hugs and all things like that because he knows there's a market for it. So when they're honest, they'll concede it, but they'll have to dress it down. No, I was just like born like this. Nothing bad happened to me. I swear, nothing bad happened. I just am like this because this is how God made me.
It's really interesting how they fantasize about like how gay people think and act. I think it tells on them a little bit, you know?
It's a total cope.
Should we lock up people that have had sexual trauma in their childhood because they tend to become?
Oh yeah. We watched this clip on stream, guys. Gird your loins, okay? Get ready for possibly the worst take you've ever heard. All right.
It's a total cope.
Should we lock up people that have had sexual trauma in their childhood because they tend to become abusers in the future?
Well, you know, statistically, that's like they say that it's not really true, like that abuse patterns don't continue, and maybe in sexual capacity it does, but like with, you know, physical abuse or things like that, because if that did happen, then over society it would repeat, and then everybody would be abused. So I don't think that's true. I do think that we should bring back some form of like institutionalizing people who are out of their mind to clean up our homeless problem a little bit.
No, literally.
But I think that we do need to get like these people help, or at least shame them into wanting to get their own help.
I like shame.
Yeah, we need to bring back mental asylums so that we can clean up our homeless problems. Jesus.
More than helping them, to be honest.
I've been saying the shame thing forever. Healthy levels of shame needs to be brought back to society. I think I said it on here like 20 million times. Shame serves a purpose. It's a driver for action.
That's what we were yelling at you guys. Shame, that woman in the beginning.
You're like, we're the weird ones.
That's all she said.
Yeah.
The one that wasn't a man.
She looked in the mirror.
Yeah.
She's a meme.
And that's the thing, you know, a lot of where we've lost our country hasn't been on the streets or even on TV. It's always been like in the court system. And like with what you're referring to there, we lost so many, or maybe the mental health, authentically understood, lost a lot of court battles, and that's why a lot of the mental institutions were closed. We lost a lot of hospital beds. The ratio, I think, is now 0.5% roughly what it was in the 1950s. So people are seeing all these, like, you know, schizophrenic people on the streets, all these like mentally ill people, and they think this is like new. It's like we've always had those people in larger proportion now, but we used to like have them institutionalized. Like some people just simply have to be institutionalized because if they're left to, you know, be trusted with liberty, they're going to groom your kids.
And it wasn't celebrated on social media, by the way. They didn't have the internet, so that's why it's trending, it spreads.
It's true. I want to play real quick the video that Aldo got when he was interviewing them inside the club in front of the sign. Can we play video 2?
How do you think the event went today?
I think it was amazing. I never get to like perform in front of children. So, like performing in front of children, I have like 6 other younger siblings.
Yeah, the fascies we're watching are objectively gross.
So it was very emotional. I loved it. It was probably one of the best shows I've ever done.
So trying to view that as
I'm
unbiased
enraged.
as possible. How do you perceive that in a way that is not sexually targeting children? Like, what's the alternate take? What's the alternate ending?
What's
it's like
sexual to them?
I think it's like a mind game that they do that if they can normalize or if they can say what they're doing to the kids is normal, then they don't have to come to terms with what happened to them as kids wasn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's actually really...
What happened to them? You can't just say like, yep, all of those people molested. You know, guys, guess what? Guess what? I can do it too. I can do it too. All straight people were molested into being straight. They weren't born that way. They were molested. And that's what made them straight. Like, it's nonsense.
A good point. And that footage and the whole story actually got covered in Daily Mail, which was pretty cool. If we could pull up Article 3. Daily Mail is actually a pretty solid publication there. So, yeah, we
I don't know. They write some shitty hit pieces.
That is true. That is true.
Oh, you forgot about that.
That are not true.
Hey, Jamie, can we pull that up?
That's not.
So, yeah, that was pretty cool. So it got covered. And that was good. But it's also kind of, and I think we made this point on Sarah's show yesterday, it's kind of sad that, you know, this is the coverage that's being given and we are all being treated like we're heroes over something as insignificant as, like, you know, attending a show and videotaping it and confronting protesters. It just goes to show how weak we are as a movement, to where even the slightest action is like, they're ready to give you medals and awards, and they're ready to have a parade in your honor over just like showing what's happening. Like, if people maybe fought back against it, we wouldn't have to just point and be like, hey, you know, they're doing that, by the way. And people are like, oh, good on you for exposing it. And it's like, okay, but what's next? What are we going to do about it?
Yeah, if you guys want to check out the full interviews that I did, go to Flecka's YouTube channel. I interviewed some more of the attendees, and one of the people that I interviewed afterwards was a couple. They were parents and they had their gay son there. And I asked them, you know, how are you involved in the LGBT community? Why are you here? Well, because we have a gay son. And I could almost see in the son's eyes that he wishes that they weren't there. And the reason I say that is because a big part of masculinity is the consistency.
Harold
and it's
Dean,
not
thank you for the
wavering on
100
your
biddies.
opinions. And you know, I think that that's a big problem today, is that men are inconsistent and they let the kids, they let things that are happening in the society lead them instead of men leading the society, right? I think what's better for your children is it to, you know, if you become LGBT, well, now your dad supports that. If he didn't support it 10 years ago, like, why is he supporting it now? And I think that leaves something empty within them, like that they don't have a rock.
Yo, it's wild, right? How, like, he's like, yeah, I interviewed this kid or I interviewed these parents and they said that their son was gay. But I looked at their child and I imagined him not being gay. Like, that's literally what he's doing here. He's just like, but what if he wasn't, though?
That they can always come back to. I think it would even be better for them, for the dad to say, you know what, son, I don't agree with your lifestyle. You go into the world and you figure yourself out, but I can't support it. And at least that would give the kids something to go back to, something that they know that is always there. But I think it gives them some sort of despair that they know, well, the next move that I make, it's just going to be accepted by my parents. Like, that doesn't fulfill people.
Yeah, if your dad is a universally supportive dad, you don't have a dad. You've got, like, like a little
Or a
brother
mom.
or something. It's pathetic. And you know, one of the comments I got that I thought was particularly funny was when they're like, "Oh, well, you think that you can tell these people how to raise their kids as a 20-something unmarried guy with no kids?" Yeah, actually.
Well, I'm a
What does
married
that say
woman.
about how retarded you are, where even I know how to treat your kids better than you.
I have kids, and I'm telling you right now, I see other kids and the kids that my kids play with and things like that, and I am so disgusted. We are breeding mental illness. We are breeding selfish, entitled people only concerned with themselves. We're breeding actual narcissists, like textbook definitions of narcissists.
Who will
where
live
all they
lives of
care-
misery. They will never be happy.
Yeah, like all they care about is
Yep, that's what gay people are. Narcissists who will never be happy.
themselves and
Yeah, this is
not
all
even society as a whole.
projection, by the way. This, by the way, you can tell this woman goes home every goddamn night and drinks herself into a stupor so she doesn't have to think about her dumb kids.
Yeah, well, oh, so gross.
She goes back to her home where like every single thing that she's added to the decor is like, haha, I'm a mom and I drink 3 bottles of wine a day. Like that, like you know, like the wine mom stuff that covers everything. Like that's her entire house.
But we are legitimately breeding selfish, self-interested, narcissistic people who then abuse people, and then like the cycle continues. It's disgusting. Our whole society is disgusting.
True. Speaking of narcissistic creatures, we now have to say goodbye to our lovely female
bye.
guests, and we're going to bring in some new ones. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for your
Don't miss us too
insightful
much.
commentary.
Where can they find you? Right? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm Twitter, Lisa
OnlyFans? No, I'm
Elizabeth, and Instagram, Lisa Beth.
Yeah. Good call, Aldo. Let's give them
Thank
more
you.
E attention.
At Isabella Riley US.
Oh, stop, John.
Or A.
Welcome back to Slightly Offensive Social Club, see? And we got the girls out. We got boys only now. So we're joined once again by Aldo Budazzoni. We are joined, of course, by the Primetime 99, Alex Stein. And we will discuss now The Outside.
And we got Taylor.
I'm so bad at this. And we have
Oh
Taylor.
my gosh.
And we have
Again.
And Taylor in the back.
I don't recognize you without your tutu. That's the problem.
Fair enough.
When I saw him, actually, I was like, I know that this whole thing was downstream of you just wanting to wear the tutu. It was like, you know, someone called him, we got to go to this event. I'm already in the tutu. Let's flip and go. Like,
Oh, yeah, I'll be honest with you. I already owned a tutu. It was just waiting in my closet for the opportunity.
Wait, and I had to say this, and Taylor had a hot babe, Brianna, with him who was filming outside. So, I mean, even though he's in a tutu, he had a very beautiful lady. So
Yeah.
it's funny how you can wear a dress, you can still, impress, I guess you
So
said.
let's go, I guess, chronologically here. I think so. Aldo was there before I was, and then after that, I strolled up. I had my boys with me, and I immediately, of course, deferred to the Joker intro. So you know, I'm going, "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are tonight's entertainment." And then you started recording right at the. I only have one question. Can we play that video number 3?
I only have one question. Why do you want to put an axe wound in between your son's legs?
Can we pause that? So what I'm referring to there, for those unfamiliar,
Is a vagina.
is the process by which they try to transition these young boys. There were mostly young boys there. I didn't see a lot of little girls. I saw mostly young boys there. And honestly, if I really...
Trans bottom surgery isn't done on children. You have to wait until you're like 18 for that. This video is like 30-ish minutes longer. And also it doesn't involve putting an axe wound in between the kid's legs. You just get a vagina.
really wanted to get into it, I would make the argument that it's these single moms who are spiteful against their ex-husbands or baby daddies, and they're literally like taking it out on the little boys. I mean, you see this a lot with like Munchausen by proxy. Like women get very vindictive and they will literally destroy their sons' lives, perhaps unknowingly or subconsciously, to get this sort of revenge. But the transition that they tend to go through is first the social transition, where it's like, okay, we're going to start calling you by a different name, we're going to dress you differently. Then they give them puberty blockers, and then that leads up to the actual like sex reassignment surgery. The axe wound is referring to the process by which they cut off your penis and they use the skin from your balls to make a fake vagina, and it's literally an axe wound.
They don't cut off the penis. That's not the process, though. Jesus. Good night, Diamond Dynamo. He doesn't even know how it's done. It's wild. These guys can't even be bothered to like look it up and get it right.
Your body recognizes it to be
Weasley little liars, dude.
a wound.
And you know what? John Doyle does look like a weasel. I'm willing to say that. I'll bite the bullet on that.
So it tries to heal. And so you get this thing called a dilator, and you have to dilate for hours every day. Why are you laughing? You bigot? This is beautiful. This is natural.
But hey, John, wait, I just say this.
It's a beautiful process. What can I say?
It is a beautiful process, but you like describing this process a lot.
do.
You describe it on your show. You describe it there. You describe it.
Hey, pipe down now, all right?
Sorry.
I want people to know the evil which preys upon their children. The same way I would want to have aborted fetuses at pro-life rallies to show people this is what it is, and this is what it is. They want your little boy to have an axe wound that he's going to have to dilate for hours every day, or else it's going to heal. It becomes infected, and they die because they have to keep putting the antibiotics on it because it's literally a wound.
John's the
No, that's not how it works. Like, come on, get it right.
guy that was holding the sign at the Dream Cruise as kids. It scarred me for life. It was just like, Mom, what is that? An aborted fetus.
Well, when they give you in college, I remember they'd have the activists and they give you the little baby that's at like 1 month, and that is effective because it has little hands, it has a little head, it has a heartbeat, so that is effective.
No, I want to go.
Me out as a kid,
Mom, do you think I'll get to see a Thunderbird? Aborted fetus. But so that's what we meant by that. Okay, let's continue the video here. This is the director's commentary.
I love the instant clash.
I need to go. Let us in and get the ticket. You're not
I'm just sipping my coffee.
Yes, we are. What do you mean? You're making America worse. You're bringing your children to this event.
You need to go now.
You're literally someone better. We'll pray for you, sweetie. Please do.
We'll pray for you. You must repent.
Okay, can we pause it again? It's so true. It was like on site. It was like Tom and Jerry level. Just, you see the pedophile, you're just going at him. And you'll notice too, our group was very diverse.
You see the pedophile. Damn, John Doyle, you saw a pedophile? You saw like actual someone raping a child and you didn't report it to police? You seem real happy about seeing all the pedophiles. Crazy, bro.
Which I think we made this point yesterday as well. The bigoted community is so accepting. All you have to be is also bigoted, and you're allowed to hang out with us. And so we had this nice mob of well-dressed, handsome young guys to go confront these people because no one else would. What is that face?
I'm just shocked because I'm realizing
We had to have some well-dressed, handsome guys.
just now, one of the guys in the video behind you was sitting next to me at your and Chad's show the other night.
Yeah, the weird
on Sunday.
Indian
Yes,
guy. We were talking about this guy.
I didn't even realize. I was
he
like,
shows up to all the events. He seems like he's minorly autistic.
Wait,
he's a
are
nice
you guys
guy.
talking about the brown kid with the slightly long hair?
Yeah,
that waves keeps waving to the camera
He's
on
a good
film.
kid.
He's
such a
really
good
nice.
kid, dude.
He's
I
really
talked to him.
nice.
He's such
Yeah.
a sweet kid.
He is very sweet.
He's a
I'm
good
not
kid.
trying to trash him, but yes, he's at like every conservative thing ever.
Yeah.
good for him though.
All right,
Good for him. Yeah, he's on the grind too.
Let's continue this.
And the language they're using, they use the most disgusting language.
I wonder if the mama.
Yeah, look at all these well-dressed men. And John Doyle in his ill-fitting suit.
Bear instinct is going to come out in 3 years when the mainstream Democrat Party platform is they want to rape your kids.
Real.
And they're all going to think it's one big, smug little joke, these people.
Yeah, they're... God damn, look at all these true Spartans. Just absolutely rippling with muscles, absolutely, just absolute, chattery going on here. God damn, these guys are lucky they didn't get their ass beats.
Oh, by the way, understand that there is a bigger difference between 10 years ago and now than there would be between now and in 5 years when they're openly advocating for pedophilia like they've already started doing. You people are the symptom of a dying society, and you know it.
You're scaring children. Shut the
Where's
up.
You're scaring children. You scream profanities.
Shut the up.
Yo, they had to... Yeah, they're willing to throw around words like retard, but they aren't willing to say the word ass. They have to bleep fuck. Okay.
That kid closing his ears.
They're plugging their ears because you're the one scaring them.
Shame on you. Shame on you.
Do you think he uses allowance for those rainbow suspenders, or did his
Dude, that
parents
made
buy
me
that?
so angry.
Shame on you.
You're Your children should be home. Your kids aren't actually gay. You've just groomed them.
Yeah, that's like literally.
Well, Doyle, I don't think I ever told you about the situation inside. Right after this, there's a kid sitting next to me, this little blonde kid, and he has 3 parents, it looks like. You got 3 women, and or I think they were women. You never know nowadays. And I overhear this conversation. He's talking with his gay bartender, and the kid goes, "No, I'm not gay." And his mom pipes in and goes, "No, don't let him lie to you. He is gay." And this kid just shut down on the spot. You know, he solved it. He just sat there playing with his Rubik's Cube the whole time, playing Nintendo DS. But I mean, they're literally telling their kids that they are one sexuality. Their kids are openly saying, "No, I'm not." And they're bullying them and basically forcing them into submission to be a little gay kid for them. I mean, it's liberal moms, like you said earlier. They just want clout.
No, it's so sad because, you know, there's always going to be overlap between the...
Damn, it's wild that you say that, and you're a journalist who went there with a camera, but you didn't actually get that on camera. Crazy.
Distributions of how men and women behave, or little boys and little girls behave, but that is no longer seen as just like, oh, you're still a boy. Sometimes, you know, you're just more feminine, you're still a girl, you're just a tomboy or whatever. They'll wait for any little sign of like a boy, like, oh, I want to play with a doll, and then they'll be like, oh, you must be gay or something, you must be trans or something. And I was thinking back, like, I used to play Barbies with my sister. I loved it because, you know, she wouldn't play. We couldn't transit. She would never find a way to have fun with like my army guys, but I could find a way to, like, you know, make the Barbies kill each other. So that was fun.
Wait, I have to say this, you are so different. My cousins at Thanksgiving, I would always get in trouble for breaking all their Barbies. It's funny.
I used to take a Ghost Rider figurine and I would go and rampage through my sister's Barbie house and I'd rip their heads off and I'd say,
them all off.
Ghost Rider did it.
Yeah, I had this doll. Her name was Cutie, and she had one of those like silicone plastic heads that you could like...
Thank you very, very much for subscribing as well. I really appreciate it. Also, they're all just like, ha ha ha, yeah, we used to be complete assholes. Hey, Psycho.
Like mold, and so I'd always have her skull like caved in, like she was like in a terrible...
Wow, they're gonna love this.
But anyway, yeah, they're gonna be like analyzing my childhood, like this is where it all started. He hates women because he was mean to Cutie. But it's funny because, you know, she's literally forcing this kid to like be gay for whatever reason, and that's just something that's not gonna happen naturally because, like, you know, we were all in 2nd grade, we all had like a little crush, you know, passing a little like, do you like me? Checkbox, yes or no. That is like rooted in a very natural attraction between like young men and young women. Young men are just never going to have that track. It's just impossible.
Well, this is it. See, you and I, we're a little different on this angle because, you know, there's an episode, famous episode, and I talked about this with Aldo and Gavin McInnes. There's a famous episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where he knows the kid's gay and he buys the kid a sewing machine, and the parent's like, you know, how did you know my kid's gay? So what I'm saying is some kids, I do believe, people think it's all, you know, externalities that decide people's sexual orientation. I don't think so. I think some people are born gay, but this is the problem: is these kids are effeminate. They haven't gone through puberty yet, so they have a high voice. You know, they might act, you know, really soft because they haven't been hardened and sharpened by this hard world. And so these parents take advantage of it, and that's how they groom them into being gay. A lot of these people aren't gay, but I think there are a percentage of people that are naturally born gay. I mean, look, I got a dog that humps the boy dog all the time. I mean, that's science.
See, I don't know if that's the pro-gay argument you think it is. You know, animals.
It might not, and I'm not even trying to be. You know, this is the thing: is this is like the other thing, John, where you get crushed too because like, oh, you know, John is, you know, anti, you know, gay. And I get that. But this is the problem in society is most people have a gay family member or a gay, you know, a gay friend. So it's kind of hard to have that position because it can be too extreme. And I'm not even calling you extreme, even though you kind of are, which that's what makes you, that's what I'm saying. That's what makes you popular. Oh. That's what makes you cool. I'm not hating on that.
Thank you.
But I'm just saying at the same time, it's kind of hard to have that views when you have loved ones, cousins, uncles that are gay. You know?
No, I agree. I mean, I have gay family members.
Yeah, I guess it must be because they all got abused. Yeah. But the ones I know, they aren't gay because they're abused. It's just the ones I don't know.
I have gay friends, and it's just like, I don't, you know, I am extreme by definition, but I also don't hold an opinion that the average American man wouldn't have held in the 1950s or 60s or even probably even 20 years ago. I just don't. So I have to kind of stay, you know, steadfast in my ground there, because it's like, oh, well, I have a gay friend, I have a gay family member. Yeah, me too. But like, at what point are we going to draw the line and be like, we can't allow this to continue to be normalized?
No, and in one of my best buds, Cassidy Campbell, he has the same exact viewpoint as you. You know, I mean, and so it's not that extreme or that unique of a viewpoint.
But I think the big difference though is how we see their sexuality as being part of their identity than they do. It's like you just said, you know, I have plenty of friends that are gay, and I'll never not say to them if they ask that I don't agree with their lifestyle. But the difference is I see their sexuality as a very, very small percentage of their overall being and who they are. Whereas they want to make their sexuality their entire personality. And I just don't agree with doing that.
Well, I have to admit something. So my sexuality is
coming out.
I have sex with pies because I watched American Pie as a little kid. So the only way I can ejaculate.
Dude, I thought I was
into
the
it.
only
Yeah.
one.
Okay,
I am
good.
so
you
glad
guys,
I
you
am
guys
not
hump pies
alone here.
too. Yeah, I'm a pie head is what we call ourselves. Pie hump.
Not the head you think.
Okay, that joke's not that funny. But regardless, let's move on.
PAP, it's PAP. It's like
Well,
pie attractive
American
people.
Pie was a good movie, but that is another part of our culture. You look at 1994. I think that was the top comedy. I think Shawshank.
Chat, there's a very much non-zero chance that these men all want to fuck pies, and I don't know how to process that.
Redemption was the top drama, and Pulp Fiction was, like the top, whatever scary movie or whatever you want to call it, dramatic movie. And now you look at our culture in this day and age, it's Boss Baby 2, Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So we're just, our culture, we're just losing all artistic value, political correctness is taken away. And I think that's why these kids are, so easy to indoctrinate, is because they're not hip, they're not cool. Everything is just so coddled. So that's
People can't
why.
take a joke anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the biggest thing too, is we've seen, in media, we've seen the transition from, movies being outright offensive like American Pie, and that's an okay thing. American Pie is a huge movie, and it was, way back then. Not way back then. But, and now, you could not produce something like American Pie and get it in movie theaters or even get it published without it getting ripped off the air and canceled. It's because
Have these people not seen? I don't know. I'm gonna throw a movie out there. Bone Tomahawk. Guys, for those of you who haven't seen the movie Bone Tomahawk, it's a movie in which it's not a comedy. It's a Western in which a tribe of still existent Neanderthals are found in the deserts of New Mexico. And they use bone whistles in their necks to communicate. It stars Kurt Russell, Sarah Scorpion. I think it's very good. I'd highly recommend. But they're cannibals, so they are willing to eat anything and everything, and that includes human beings. And so there is a scene towards the middle of the movie that involves a human being literally split in half. And it just shows it happen. And when I saw it in the theater, I just laughed out loud because I couldn't believe that they had actually done it, the Mad Lads. But yeah, a fully nude man just gets ripped in half. And not like a fast rip in half, horrifyingly ripped in half. The idea that these people think that American Pie, where someone fucks a pie, couldn't happen in a world where you can get a movie where a naked man, penis and all, gets ripped in half. Nah, you can do it. It's just that comedic sensibilities have changed a little bit since American Pie.
people have become soft. Humor is
I mean, you could watch a Serbian film, but why would you? Seriously, don't watch it. It's not a good time. It's just an awful slog.
no longer humor. You can't make jokes. And I think that's what we see, especially within the gay and the LGBTQ community, is they cannot take a joke. They were raised in a way under this culture and under this new media that it is unacceptable for anyone to disagree with them in a humorous way.
Also, men nowadays who are in high school couldn't relate to American Pie. Which I think actually that did come out in 1999. I only know that
99.
I only know that because that one Blink song was featured in it, "Up Enemy of the State." Because that whole movie, calls back to this age-old tradition, and people who are watching, say that's degenerate, whatever. Of guys just being frustrated, dude, I gotta see boobs, I gotta get laid before prom, bro. Now guys aren't even talking to girls, and you can say that's base. They're choosing to be Volcels. No, it's because they're socially awkward and autistic. The concept of there's probably a scene in that movie where there's something to the effect of the guys are all eating hamburgers and French fries. There's a girl there, and dude, go talk to her. And he goes up and tries to get her number, gets rejected. Friends laugh. Now that would never even happen. I not one time have I ever been out with friends at any age and had them approach a girl and just talk to her.
You know, what's scary now is it almost seems like the women are more bold than the men when it comes to starting something.
Yeah.
You know, when it comes to striking up the first conversation, which 100% should be a man's job in my mind. I mean, we're supposed to guide this situation.
Mm-hmm.
We're not supposed to be, you know, submissive to this woman if we're in a relationship. But that's what we're seeing nowadays is the men have become women and the women have replaced men in the relationship. It's insane.
Yeah, it's a very androgynous society. So I want to play video 5 now where Alex Stein enters from stage right to try to gain access to the venue. Let's take a look.
They're denying me entry. They're being bigoted. They're bigoted. They're not letting me in here.
I hate my voice.
I thought you guys are inclusive, Greg. Are you guys trying to be inclusive? They're not letting me in the gay bar.
They had no idea. I'm sitting there right behind him.
Look how inclusive.
Yo, you're right there.
Right
Look at
there.
you, Taylor.
You're going to a gay bar. You guys are bigots. You guys,
So what was they just weren't being accommodating to bisexuality or what?
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously they know that I'm a bisexual, but the guy, it's funny, the guy that owns that is a guy named Trey Stewart, and he co-hosts a show with Stephanie Holman, who was on The Real Housewives of Dallas, and I actually had a video that went viral about 2 years ago where I'm trolling The Real Housewives of Dallas while they were filming. I kind of like shut down their production. So I guess my point being is he knew exactly who I was, and he's seen my viral video, so he knew that, you know, you're going to come here and cause drama. But I wanted to, and that's what made me so mad, because when we were outside, listen, I wanted to shut that thing down so bad, more than I've ever wanted to shut anything down, just because I knew how weird it was. I mean, the vibrational energy, and I'm all about vibrational energy, they were like...
Yes, the very scientific conservative movement. The vibrational energy was just terrible, chat. Who's that Tyler guy? He's a conservative journalist who... basically is just like another shit like all these others on screen, okay? Again, all of the people who are guests on this show are guesting on it knowing it's a white nationalist program, okay?
Preying on those kids in there, and this is how you know, because at least Drag Queen Storytime is done in a library you can see out in the open, but there they put paper over the window to try to cover it up. If they weren't hiding anything, they wouldn't have to do it in the dark.
Yeah, and I saw that escalate a little bit. We'll play that clip in a second.
Get off me! Hey, take me out.
I like that part. I like this job. I like it.
Look at the self-harming. Wow.
Yeah. And this isn't said in a way that's...
You have no... Okay, first of all, you have no idea what those scars are from. You have no idea what those scars are from. Second off, mental illness? Based on what? Oh man, he's got a face. And Matilda Rose, yeah, I had to up the number of ads because, well, Twitch offered me money to do that. And I need money to keep my apartment, so I took the money. But if you don't want to see ads, subscribing is the way to go, baby.
It's like, you know, haha, you're self-harming, but it's just, you have to understand that these people are all mentally ill. Literally, there is no demographic in the face of the planet that is more mentally ill per capita than LGBT people.
Wrong. The most mentally ill demographic is fascists, okay? Every fascist, deeply mentally unwell, okay? You have to have a completely broken brain, something completely riddled with hatred, to become a fascist. And that's what all of these people have, okay? It's incurable, and it's the worst mental disease known to man, okay?
And they'll say that that's because of, you know, stigma or bigotry or something like that. But even if you go into Europe, which is literally the most tolerant group of countries, Northern Europe, in terms of these types of things, they still have the identical rates of mental illness over there. So it can't just be because of stigma.
Well, I mean, their entire community, I mean, the whole trans community is quite literally based off of mental illness. It's based off of gender dysphoria. But when you try and mention that to them, no, gender dysphoria isn't a mental illness. It's a superpower.
I think there was even another thing that was classified as a mental illness up until 1973 when a group of homosexual activists infiltrated the American Psychiatric Association. I wouldn't know anything about that, but I think that is also true. What was going through your mind? I really liked how you pulled the mask off. It was this very like, I'm here to save Gotham moment.
That clip will go down in history.
Well, I appreciate that, but literally because he was just his vibes. I keep talking about vibes. I want to unmask him, and the other guy had a bandana, so it would have been hard to rip off. But see, this is the problem. You talk about the depression. Listen, I'm mentally insane myself, and you know all those guys are on some sort of antipsychotic medicine, so they're probably out of touch with reality anyway. So you almost have to walk on eggshells around these people. Even though I do want to push up against them, these people are lunatics that have nothing to lose. That's the most dangerous person, is a person that has nothing to lose. So yeah, I wanted to pull off his mask. I would have sat there and gone toe to toe with him, but that wouldn't have benefited anybody. I probably would have been the one that goes
toe to toe in prime time.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been good. And you can see a video of me boxing.
Yeah, I wanted to assault him, but I didn't, because I'm a pussy. Yeah, because this person is definitely a mental health professional. Yeah, definitely, exactly. Nathanduil, welcome. Hope you enjoy your time in my chat.
So the people like, oh, Alex, you're soft.
No, by the way, notice throughout this entire thing, like this guy will be like, yeah, I walked in and I saw this poor white boy, and he was surrounded by 3 women, and obviously those women were all his parents, and they said that he was gay, and then he said he wasn't gay, and they said he was lying, and he looked at me with like the saddest of eyes. And I understood that he was being groomed into being gay. And like, they will just extrapolate like whole entire stories about child abuse from like looking at a child at an event. It's wild.
Knockout king at LSU, a boxing match. So celebrity boxing, call me up.
I've seen it.
Yeah, no, what you just said though about them being on these psychiatric drugs, that's so true. And I think it's not enough to just ban drag shows in front of minors. We have to eliminate the factors that are leading to these other sort of mental illnesses, like the psychiatric drugs that everybody's on, or getting phones out of the hands of kids until they're at a certain age, and stopping the proliferance of these kids on social media and making them so isolated that they have to lash out at society, or they have to go into drag to find some other sort of identity.
Well, nobody likes to talk about the fact that antidepressants usually lead to more depression.
100%.
I mean, it leads these people.
No, actually, it's not how antidepressants work at all. You absolute ding dong. Jesus.
Down worse rabbit holes than they're already down, and they never get out because they're just given more medication. Oh, this one isn't working. Let me prescribe you another one on top of that. Oh,
Zaya.tv. Yeah. Same. Like these people, I've said it before, folks, and I'll just say it again. These people, if you are a minority of some kind, if you are not white, if you are non-Christian, if you are gay or trans or bi or lesbian or whatever, they want you fucking dead, okay? And they'll just straight up say it. The beginning of this talked about them assembling the homophobic Avengers to do this hit piece on this event that they're talking about right now. But like, this isn't isolated. This is just what mainstream conservatism is these days. Like, for real. Like, that's just what it is. They'll straight up say it to you. Like this ding dong on Twitter. Yes, abortion and homosexuality need to be banned immediately, and the consequences should be lifetime imprisonment or hanging. Why do we have to watch this? It irritates me because I gave chat the option to vote between watching interesting, nice things or a punishment, and this is the punishment. And chat voted for the punishment, okay? So don't blame me, blame chat, okay?
You have ADHD, let me give you some Adderall.
Yeah.
And they just keep mixing these compounds until, I mean, these people aren't even humans anymore. Their brains don't work the way they're supposed to.
It's like the left is like against big pharma until it turns your penis into.
Yes, it's yes. If you are on antidepressants, you're no longer a human to these people.
A vagina.
Yeah. Well, and you just look at all the side effects of medicine: impotence, dry mouth, suicidal idolization. And America is the only country where, and there's a couple others, but very few, where the pharmaceutical companies can even run commercials. So that's how these other countries know that these pharmaceutical industry, they are in.
Damn, that sounds like a problem with capitalism. Too bad you're a fascist and not actually against capitalism. You're in favor of people being exploited as long as they're the right people being exploited.
In the business of making money, not healing people.
They sponsor news stations on prime time. I mean, they're not subtle about this. About prime time 99.
I don't know why. I'm feeling real comic booky today. You know, I'm thinking about when we take power, we've got the kangaroo courts, but instead of Scarecrow, it's Alex, and he's. You really thought we were gonna let you get away with this? It's prime time, baby.
Speaking of comic books, it was like it's like in The Watchmen when he takes off his mask and it's Rorschach. My man, give me back my face. My face.
Yeah, hey, please stop grooming children. Never surrender, never surrender. Just skitzing out. But that's the thing too, and it's like we mentioned earlier, you really do have to approach it from a place of empathy. Because these people are desperate. They are very, and you can tell this too, by the way.
None of these people know what empathy is. Not a single one.
Because of how many death threats we've all been getting since we just showed up and covered that event. I don't know about you guys. I've covered Black Lives Matter, literally the people who, and this is not my opinion, this is just my understanding of the Uniform Crime Report, who are most likely to kill you, and I get less death threats or like potential situations from that group than I do from when I just go and like cover an event like this. Like they are so desperate and they believe that their only way out of their despair is for people like us to not exist. And so yeah, they're like, I will literally kill you. And they're so pretentious with their stupid like.
Well, and I'm getting tons of messages like that. I'm sure y'all are
people
too.
are calling me bigoted for the reporting, and obviously I have my clear opinions on the subject. When I'm going out and reporting, I'm pretty objective in the questions I ask, because I don't need to have an angle for them to expose their own lunacy. When I ask them questions, I hit record and I say, well, do you think that exposing kids to drag will do this? What do you think of the event? It's pretty objective. And even in my captions, I'm like, the crowd cheered as the kids walk with the drag queens. There were toddlers in the audience as well. I had multiple replies on that, and they were saying, this bigoted caption. What do you mean this bigoted caption? I'm describing what you're seeing.
Yeah, but objectivity doesn't exist anymore. Unless you're on the left, everything right of it is racist and bigoted.
That's why they call us, the term is ontologically evil. Now, for those who didn't go to college and get a philosophy degree, ontologically, I'm told, means our essence is evil. Therefore, we cannot have anything done to us that is immoral, because we are not even in the same, league in terms of how things should be treated. And this is what happens when you have no belief in anything other than like that which brings you pleasure. Anything that is a threat to that pleasure, like the handsome young men in this room, we are ontologically evil, and therefore.
And Doyle,
again, he's talked about how handsome all the alt-right men are here. Bro, just come out, okay? Just come out. You'll be so much happier, dude. Just come out. Promise you'll be happier.
Not immoral to shoot us.
With the death threats you're talking about. I mean, all of us are receiving them. And I've covered Antifa. I've been attacked by Antifa. When I first started in this industry painting Baby Lives Matter murals, I was going against the pro-murder community. And, I've received more death threats from covering this trans community and the Child's Drag Show and the Baby Lives Matter stuff than I ever have throughout journalism covering full-blown extremist groups. I mean, these people, I don't know what it is about these two subsections, but they're more violent than the extremist groups that we see videos, burning buildings down.
Yeah, no, it's because they're literally possessed by demons.
Well, and the projection, everybody's like, you're gay, you're gay. That's what every message is.
It's true. But also, yeah. I mean, you do keep talking about how other people are sexy, how other men are sexy. You are obsessed with getting into the minds of like trans people. I don't know. We should watch Keffel's Roast a Hungarian Bigot. That could be fun.
too. You're an actual homosexual.
Yeah,
you're
you're
actually gay porn. I'm like, okay.
No, I
first
love
of
the
all,
Freudian
no.
psychoanalysis. It's like, oh, you talk about how we shouldn't ban guns? Well, you must secretly want to ban guns. It's like, what if you're just weird? Like, what if that's what it is actually? So, but Alex came through. He had his dad play your footage I saw last night. My mom even texted me about it. She said, Alex got his dad to play the footage. Can we take a look at that? Is that a thing? Do we have that video about
Daddy Tucker?
Oh, we don't? Well, we will talk about it. I see now the note says talk about it.
Well, but let me say, so John just brought up how Tucker played the clip, but it wasn't, I mean, I love Tucker. He's my father, biological father. He impregnated my mom while he was at the Arkansas Gazette, and she was a student at the University of Arkansas. What I'm saying is, my Twitter, suspiciously 3 hours after it airs in California, my Twitter gets a strike, and they want me to admit that it was hate speech. And all I said in the tweet is we need to stand up for what is right against these sick psychopaths. And they consider that hate speech, yet there's so many other people saying so much worse stuff, like Ethan Klein talking about bombs and talking about this. They don't ever get deplatformed for 1 minute.
Do you guys remember in Spider-Man 3 when the symbiote stuff, when it was exposed to the sound of the metal clinging, it started freaking out and just lashing out? That's literally what these people were doing. Taylor, you were there. We're just exposing these people, these vampires, shining a light on them. They start lashing out, flipping out. They spit on your lovely girlfriend. What happened?
Oh my gosh.
Dude, well, and the thing is, you know, I mean, this was an attendee of the drag show that did this. I mean, so he's obviously a pedophile child groomer. I mean, a full-grown man that works.
Yeah, why would someone you're calling a pedophile treat you with the utmost disdain? I don't understand. Why would someone who you're repeatedly calling a pedophile wish you ill? I don't understand. These people like just played the biggest dummies on the face of the earth and expect you to buy it hook, line, and sinker, bro. Pathetic.
To Southwest Airlines is attending this show and nobody bats an eye, but he actually was originally yelling at the Catholic protesters across the street that were minding their own business. They weren't involved at all. They were just praying to themselves. And, you know, he's screaming at him, "You're going to go to hell." And that's when Bree walks up and starts recording, you know, and he says, "You're going to go to hell too, little girl." And he spits right in her face. And, you know, she's a champ. You see in the car reflection, she's giggling because it was hilarious to her. She knew that this guy was mentally unwell. But
yeah, that's a normal reaction to getting spat on.
actually, Tucker's producer, I believe, reached out to Southwest Airlines yesterday, and he is put on administrative leave. So we're still following.
Shut up! Wait! That's breaking news. Wait, is that so? That I didn't realize that. So he is on administrative leave.
He is on administrative leave.
That's breaking news because that guy spit on Bree. I mean, that guy was disgusting. And this is the other thing is, even though that guy's terrible, I kind of hate that he's probably going to lose his job, but he kind of deserves it. But wow, the guys, we really did, and I'm not trying to pat ourselves on the back, but what's Brian Slayton with the legislation he's trying to put through, exposing these people, we really did take a W in the culture battle. We didn't win the culture war yet.
True.
I don't think I've ever seen such an after effect of an event. I mean, in positivity for us. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen, a bunch of journalists go and expose an event like this and then have actual legislation drafted almost immediately after. I think this is a new sphere that we're entering in, and I think, we got to freaking roll with it.
Yeah, I really hope that the momentum is maintained too.
And guys, we actually have an advantage now because everybody hates the legacy media. Everybody hates CNN. And listen, I like Tucker on Fox News, but Hannity sucks. I'm saying these legacy medias, they can't do what we do. We can actually go in and ingratiate ourselves. So we actually have an advantage because we don't have to follow those rules, the rigged systems. We're not owned by these big multinational corporations. So that's why there's a huge void that we can fill it. And I think this is a perfect example of we can have more success disrupting events that people are too afraid to go cover because they're not allowed to.
That's exactly correct. And that's why legacy media too targets people like us, like not only on the right because
No, they're not targeting you because you're a threat to them. They're targeting you because you are objectively the worst people on the planet. Like, given the chance, you would murder a trans kid. That's why. That's why. You're a terrible human.
because people tend to infight and, you know, deplatform people who are maybe like a centimeter farther to the right than themselves. But even like how social media has been taken over by corporations. Like social media was cool because it was independent. I can go on YouTube and watch a guy do like, you know, song covers or whatever. Now they have the approved list because you've got the nest egg that all these legacy corporations had built up. It's draining. And so they real quick cashed in and got YouTube. They bought out, you know, their little slot on YouTube while they still could. And now you go on YouTube, you don't get to see independent media. All you see is like, you know, CNN and Fox and what have you. So very disheartening.
No, YouTube stinks now, and Wojcicki even said it. I mean, if it's not an approved legacy media, you know, content, you're not gonna, even if it starts to go viral. Because I know.
Are the hosts related? They look like clones of the same seething incel nerd who consumed every Black Pill Manosphere video on YouTube. Basically, they've all been possessed by a demon, and that demon's name is just hatred. Like, yeah. Who's paying this speed-talking idiot? Well, frankly, it's billionaire conservative moguls who funnel their money through a variety of different groups. So that's who's funding these folks.
Oh, John, you still do well, but like I'll have a video get like 3,000 views in the first 10 minutes, and all of a sudden it dies. You know, they kill it. And they do that on purpose.
Yeah, well, I manage the Next News Network YouTube channel. We have 2.15 million subscribers. And when I go back into the analytics, and like you just said, we get a video that does 10,000 views in an hour, you can look at the analytics and it goes up, 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 and it just crashes. And it goes down to 0. Like, it is so easy to see how they're crushing our reporting.
Can we play video 7, actually, of the Taylor?
I mean, Bezos probably does fund some people like this, but I mean, he also owns the Washington Post, so yes.
Girlfriend incident.
So this guy's on administrative leave.
You're going to hell too, little girl.
Jeez.
Women and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Wow.
And the
Taylor
video
ran after
cut
him.
off, dude. I had a full-blown Alex Jones moment.
I wonder if that guy, I gotta wonder, that guy might have been, like, telling them that they're gonna go to hell because they think that, like, they're gay.
Here in a tutu, in a pronoun shirt and trans socks. I chased after him down the street, sprinted after him.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, no, holy shit. This isn't like, chat, this isn't like some guy who was, like, pro like drag or whatever. That was just some homophobe who was saying that he was gonna go to hell. Yeah, he thought they were queer because they were undercover. Yeah, YouTube. This guy on screen right now was wearing like a they them pronouns shirt and like a tutu and rainbow socks or whatever to like blend in undercover. They were just harassed by a homophobe who told them that they were going to hell and spat on them. And then they are saying that he was actually a pro-LGBTQ person. That's insane. All right. That's what I got out of the story.
And he stopped for a second. I got his license plate number, and then he peeled out. But
yeah.
I mean, if he would have stopped, it was... I was a little bit heated. You don't spit on a woman.
I love your girlfriend's reaction. She just started, she's like, and she started laughing. She's like, holy shit, I can't believe what just happened.
She was, you know, like just so surprised. You know, that was like one of her first times on the ground with me. And she ends up getting spit on. But and then, you know, you see that switch. It's like she's surprised and like just almost disgusted. But at the same time, that smile sneaks through. And it's like, oh, that's good footage. That's, you know, this is going to be good to expose these people.
And I want to make this point too. When he spit, you can kind of tell his energy was like that he was at a sexual event. Like it almost had like some sort of sexual vibe, the way he spit and the way he was yelling. Like, I don't know.
How much male DNA do you think was in that saliva?
These people are the most projective people. It was almost, that spit was almost sexual. And then like John Doyle's like, how much male DNA? Like, holy shit, these people are fucking broken. Like, straight up broken individuals. They're like, I don't know how else to tell you. And I saw someone asking like, why are we watching this? We're watching it to make fun of them, okay? We're watching it to make fun of them because, frankly, Mel Brooks was right. The most effective way of dealing with fascists is to mock the shit out of them. All right? How much testosterone was in that spit? More testosterone that's in that was in that recording room, okay?
I don't know, 0.1%. Yeah, I mean, it was all estrogen, but there was something really weird about him spitting. Like it felt very like almost sexualized. It was gross.
Yeah, and I will say, as one of the two resident
It was
Catholics
gross.
in the
I
room,
definitely
I do
wasn't
take a little
into
bit
it.
of pride in seeing, because we're taught that when you recite a Hail Mary, it literally sends tremors through hell. To see how, you know, the group of Catholics on the opposite side of the street reciting that prayer made these people just melt down, I think it really vindicated that.
No, I think you had a point. They were really like that. Really triggered them. Just seeing people praying, the people that weren't even in their face.
Yeah, they were so angry.
They were kept on saying, "Oh well, the Catholic Church says bad stuff to little boys," which they're, you know, they probably have a little point, but at the same time, I mean, it's just the fact that they are, you know, have God in their life. They hate that. They hate that.
It's true. And so then Taylor.
No, it's the Catholic Church diddling the little boys. That's what people care about.
Taylor himself was assaulted. Or they self in the two.
We were all assaulted. Were you assaulted? John?
Multiple times. Everyone was.
So,
Eyes were assaulted.
Should I tell this story of when I had the conversation with the police officer and I was just like, he did this. It's on video.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to tell the story. Yeah, can we play video 8, please?
Christ is king! Christ is king! Christ is king! Christ is king! Christ is king!
By the way, I love how they're like, yeah, we really showed up in mass. It's like 10 people. Just 10 people delighting in being assholes.
Yeah, look at that chant. We're not like holding up signs that say like, you know, God hates whatever. We're not saying things like that. We're just saying Christ is king. And that's like their, you know, metal sound, right? It just makes them melt down, because the idea that they are in this world to subject themselves to a higher order instead of just pursuing whatever they think.
I mean, let me put it this way. If John Doyle encountered a group of people chanting "Love is love" outside of his house, he'd shit his pants. Just immediately. Shit. All over. A comedic spout of shit that would lift him off the ground. Okay? That's, like, John Doyle is a weak-ass pussy, okay?
Think makes them happy or makes them feel good, that makes them angry because they know it's true. It's holding up a mirror to them and saying, you are not your own God. Your life is a gift and it's a blessing. And what you're doing right now is destroying yourself. It's destroying your spirit. And they know that, and it makes them squirm when they hear it. Otherwise, like if we were chanting something like, I don't know, like, you know, what would it even be, like Nickelback isn't bad, they would just be like, oh, what a silly assembly of people. But it's because what we were saying holds that mirror up and it shines a light on who they are and it makes them feel guilty. The same way when, you know, Aldo tells me, hey,
no, this is the guy who thinks that the fascist movement he should lead should be like called the Gastonians, after Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. Which is very funny considering he's like a scrawny little white dude.
You know, work on your video today, and I'm like, you know, it makes me angry because I'm like, you know, I'm working on it, man.
I'm just trying to support my friend. Like, John, you know, what's your day up to?
Yeah.
Like,
it's the same way. It's the same.
But John,
way.
we had to make this point too, because listen, I'm the most anti-evolution guy ever, and these people literally think two rocks smashed together and that we all evolved from pond scum. And they do that because they don't want any moral repercussions from their actions. You know, there's a reason for that. So when they hear God maybe exists, or they see other people with a different viewpoint, it really does. They're like, well, maybe I'm going to be held accountable for my actions. So that's what scares them.
It is true. Let's take a look at the Taylor getting shoved video now.
That is not okay. When you're a child, that is not okay. Because let me tell you.
Live in the Dallas streamer house. Take it away.
Yeah, no, don't be changed.
Hey, you want to get my fucking face? Yeah, you want to go? Yeah, let's see how this turns out. Get your ass.
So this guy decided he wanted to shove me from the back. He kept getting his camera in front of my, his hand in front of my camera.
Is this when the black guy's running? This is the viral video of the black guy running?
Not of the black guy. And this is the one where I'm standing there and I'm interviewing Kevin Witt, a detransitioner, and they hate this guy because he knows everything about, you know, the degeneracy of their culture and what they're doing and what they push. And, you know, I get in front of him, so he stops interrupting the interview. I hand the mic over to Kevin, and then I just get double hand shoved in the back. And so I turned around and I get in his face and I say, yeah, you want to do something? I said, get in my face. And then I asked him if he wanted to get his ass beat in a effing tutu, and then he backed down immediately. The groomer cops came in and got in between us because they'd rather defend pedophiles and actually stand up for what's right and go in there and take those kids out.
Yeah, unbiased journalist here. And yes, the cops, he did just call the cops groomers for not immediately shooting every gay person there. Yeah.
So yeah, it was super eventful, but he backed down immediately. This security guard, it's Antifa. I mean, this is Dallas Antifa.
Yep.
They aren't strong. They're a bunch of weak kids, and they...
Dude. Real quick.
Go. Yeah, let's see how this turns out. Get your ass.
I don't think you want to be pointing out how weak anyone is, my dude. I don't think you want to be pointing that out, okay? Get, like, the size of your arm here is laughable. Like, okay, dude.
Something I said, get in my face, and then I asked him if he wanted to get his ass beat in a effing tutu, and then he backed down immediately. The groomer cops came in and got in between us because they'd rather defend pedophiles and actually stand up for what's right and go in there and take those kids out. So yeah, it was super eventful, but he backed down immediately. This security guard, it's Antifa. I mean, this is Dallas Antifa.
Yep.
They aren't strong. They're a bunch of weak kids, and they have no power when they're single-handedly, centered out. They can't do anything.
Dude, I felt so great. I felt like I had a license to kill because when they were
Did anyone just catch what you said there? What was said there? Felt like I had a license to kill. These people, and I keep telling you this, I've said it so many times, want you fucking dead if you aren't the fascist like they am. Like they are. Sorry, I'm tired.
following...
They can't do anything.
Dude, I felt so great. I felt like I had a license to kill because when they were following us back, because that's what they do. After you leave the event, they follow you because they want to see where you're going. They want to get your license plate so they can dox you and try to get you killed. So I turn around and there's the really skinny one with the gun who was following us.
With the rainbow bandana?
Yeah. And so I like get in his face. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck away from him. I'm like yelling at this guy. You know, I got the cop to come over and everything. And I was like, he's got a gun. He's threatening to kill us. He's got a gun. And he's like, no. And it was just really great.
He did have a gun.
No,
I actually have unmasked this guy on accident. My last video that I did, the last protest I went to, it was a pro-choice protest, and it was in Dallas. And he was running security for this protest too. And I have a perfectly beautiful shot of his face. So his bandana is worthless. We know who these people are. And
was his face beautiful?
His face was not very beautiful. But actually, it's funny because I have a clip of me and him standing off, and we're staring at each other. And I'm just messing with him and trying to get under his skin. And I go, "Hey, you have pretty eyes." And he goes, "Thank you."
That probably is the nicest thing anyone's ever said to him. Well, thank you guys for coming on. I think this was a really great discussion. Final thoughts, I guess, would just be we live in a society where we've heard for so long that there's no such thing as good and evil. Those are spiritual terms, and we're smarter than that now. We have things like science. And so to even suggest that something can be good or evil, well, who are we to make that declaration? Well, who are we to know? That's like an archaic, outdated idea from the Middle Ages, and we know better than that now. And it gets really hard, I think, to look at things like this and not recognize evil when you see it. Maybe you can't quantify it. Maybe you can't exactly define it. Maybe you can't, plug it into some sort of research study that's peer reviewed and published in a very prestigious medical journal. And yes, I'm a very sophisticated guy. Maybe you can't do that, but you can still recognize child sacrifice when you see it. And I think it's good that we've shined a light on that. I think it was a victory. I think there's more to be done, but we also have to remember that politics is a tug of war, and even if it's an obvious victory, even if we never should have been that far back in the first place to where something like this could even happen in this country, let alone Texas, even if we can, get that 1 or 2 inches of rope back, that is still on the net good for us, and it's a good place to start. So I'm glad that we could do that.
I wanted to make this point. It went from drag queen story time to drag king story time. Okay, not a good joke. Gosh dang it.
Yeah.
Come on, laugh.
I literally thought
It's almost like conservatives are just hilariously unfunny.
I thought I died. I thought he
Oh
was
my
just,
God.
how about another joke,
Antifa.
Murray? So where can we find you guys if people want more bad jokes and more Aldo?
You can find me at my Twitter for more.
Such propaganda helps some to become more radicalized. It absolutely does. That's why we make fun of them for being limp dick little soy boys.